Good morning, beautiful people. I hope everybody woke up well. Those of us experiencing winter, we tell you to have some thoughts about us. And those of you enjoying the 12 months of summer, where we grew up, but also living under the constant fear of deadly attacks, we also think about your safety. I'll try to combine so many subjects in this broadcast, which I will try to limit to 10 minutes or so. And I will start off by telling a little family history, a little Israelite history. My maternal grandmother was called Nwazu Onu. Nwazu Onu means let everybody have their own children. Did not have one day of formal education, did not open a Bible, but she spoke Hebrew. To her, light was Urimmo. She also knew light as Oko, but she used Urimmo more. I know that every Ibiri, every Hebrew, every Israelite, every Igbo, every Jew, including Ikenga Uruagu, knows that the people we call the Igbo people today address light as Oko. I have a reason for mentioning Ikenga Uruagu because we watch problems starting and we ignore them. My mother also knew light as Urimmo and as Oko, but she used Oko more. What I just told you is that I grew up speaking Hebrew. That's what I'm telling you. Even though the last time I was in early Israel was 2,000 years ago, as Judah fell under the assault of the Babylonians. I know what happened. I have the records. I know what happened. I have the records of when I left Judah, moved into Egypt, and from there, I continued moving until I ended up on the banks of the river Niger. 16 years ago, to be exact, the two greatest surgeons in the world, or two of the greatest surgeons in the world, sat on chairs and were observing a youngish man lying on a bed in a hospital in Medugri. And they began to talk because by then they had read the fourth book of that young man, or that youngish man. I wasn't so young again, I was youngish. They said, this guy has only a first degree in law and law school training, but he's been able to prove definitively that the Igbo culture we all know in Nigeria is that culture we read about in the Bible. And meanwhile, he's telling us that he nurses an ambition to go into academia, to get a master's, to get a PhD. Our fear is that if this guy gets into academia, he will be forced and constrained into boxes where he will start working with those theories that he has ignored so far and has revealed and found all the truth that nobody has been able to find before him. This story is about me. If not for the elevation where I kept this camera, you would have seen my stomach and seen what God used their hands to do. As I was lying down and facing them, my stomach was like railway tracks. So the whole point of this video is that the Igbo people, I prefer to call them the Ibiri people, even Ikenga Uruagu, knows that because he's getting older, he's not young again, he will be called Oki Ibiri. If he's married, his wife will be called Ibiriachi. If he has children, they will be called Ibirinta. So I prefer to call the people that call themselves Igbo, Ibiri. He knows that they are called Ibiri. And Ibiri is exactly, or was exactly what Moses, Isaac, Jacob, King David, Abraham, would address this English term called Hebrew as. If they wanted to say Hebrew, they would say Ibiri. We know how it has transmogrified to Igbo today. As the people stay longer in West Africa, they adopt, they assimilate, they adopt a lot of things from their neighbors. That is why Ibiri has changed to Igbo. I've mentioned the Ikenga Uruagu many times because I saw a video recently where he was thanking Tinubu, the president of Nigeria. And instead of concentrating on thanking Tinubu, he veered into saying that there are two types of Igbo. One is derogatorily, he meant the people that identify themselves as in this Israel, those that came from Israel. Ikenga Uruagu, if you are not from Israel, you are a bastard. If you are Igbo and you are not from Israel, you are a bastard. It is those Igbos that came from Israel that are the authentic Igbos. Those that did not come from Israel are people we had sympathy for in the past and assimilated them into our own. By the way, if the writers of the Bible wanted to talk about family, they use the term omunna. So better go home, ask your fathers and your mothers your history. We don't want to get involved in the politics that has made you to join forces against the miscreants, saying that the Igbos did not come from Israel. We know what happened. We don't want to be involved in that because we have faced squarely what will redeem the Igbo people, and it is return to the ways of the God of Israel, which today we call authentic Israelite biblical Omenana. That is what is going to save the Igbo people. You left that, went into some other things, fell out with some people that went into what you went into. And because those people are aligned with Israelite heritage of the Igbos, it has now come under attack by you. And how the things get to where they are in our society today, it is when people see people like you making mistakes and they don't correct them. That is how things get bad. That is why I'm using this opportunity to correct you. Leave the Israelite heritage alone. If you are Igbo, Ikenga Uruagu, and you are not from Israel, then you are not one of us. I believe that you won't be stupid enough to think you know better than the great Nnamdi Azikiwe, PhD anthropology and history, and he believed that Igbos came from Israel. I know that you will not be stupid enough to believe that you know better than Dr. Michael Okpara, Sojourn, the greatest politician to come out of Igbo land. He called himself an Israelite. If you are well brought up and you know the meaning of honor your father and your mother and respect your elders, then you would not even get there. Face your foes, face your friends, but leave the heritage of the Igbos alone. Thank you, everyone. Have a beautiful week.